Welcome to another edition of the MYBcast, a podcast devoted to educating our followers to the alternatives of self-care and wellness through the somatic world of the mind-body connection. Today we're featuring another episode of our series, Portraits of the Pioneers. Portraits of the Pioneers is an in-depth look at those that have been actively involved in the exploration, the development, and the practice of somatic touch therapy. Hi, I'm Richard Mack, and I'm here with my co-host, Anna Marie Bowers, and today we're finishing up our third episode with our dear friend from Zurich, Switzerland, Bill Scholl. Bill, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Anna Marie. I'm having fun so far.
Why did you have to say so far? You just say
So
you're
far,
having
well,
fun.
let's see what happens. We got another half an hour here. We'll see if we have a good time or not.
Oh, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're doing now as
Well,
your book?
what am I doing now? Here I sit. I like to say I'm in my 80th year, which is true. I'm 79, which is interesting just in and of itself. Just the thought of this aging process, because the body is feeling it. I mean, there's all kinds of things going on with the body, but my mind feels younger than it has in decades. I feel like I'm 14 years old, and I don't have any particular. One of the great things about being 79 is I can just say whatever the hell I want to say. I don't have, there are no filters on it too much anymore.
Yep.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but beyond that, I don't, I can be outrageous if I want to be. And that's a new place for me. I like it. I like it. Um, I'm doing a lot of different things. My practice continues. I'm still doing some teaching, although I don't have the drive. I don't need to teach. I'm having more fun training other people to teach, supporting them in their teaching than I am in teaching myself, because we have to pass this on. In Switzerland, we have a little group of our education committee. I don't even know what we call it anymore, but there are 5 or 6 of us there in that committee, and some have been teaching a while, some are new at it, some are just coming into it. And we're gradually helping people see all of the things that are needed besides just standing in front of a classroom to keep any kind of an organization functional. So we're doing a lot of helping them take over little bits and pieces of things and get good at it, and then hopefully they can take on a little more. Much of my work at this point around the Traeger work is really to be sure it continues, to make sure it keeps going when I'm not doing it anymore. So that's my overview there. And how do I support other people? And that's fun. It's a new project, new way to be. We're fortunate, those of us in the work, that we have some examples of other people who've done that. I think immediately of Gail Stewart, who's living in Berkeley, California, and is always available to be in support of other teachers. And Gail's in her mid-80s now, and 100% available. So that's a big piece of what I'm thinking about doing. Beyond that, I've discovered that I love to write. And so that's a new place for me. I've done a little bit of it over the years. I've written little family histories for nieces, nephews, great nieces, nephews, the whole ongoing family.
Mm-hmm.
And in process have discovered that I have family in England I didn't even know about. And so I've sent some of that material to them. I had an aunt, very 1950s woman, with her perfect makeup and her perfect hair and her perfect purse over her shoulder, perfect dress, hose, shoes, everything. And I have a wonderful photograph of my Aunt Sylvia sitting on her Harley motorcycle, which is how she got around all the time in that outfit. So there's some good stories in the family to write about. I'm finishing a book It's my first book, which is the title of the book is The Rabbi, Kinky, and Me. And it's the story of me and my two best friends. We met at age 13. The rabbi was Jimmy Kessler, who became the longest serving rabbi in Galveston, actually in the Western United States. He was there 35 years in one congregation, beloved by the city of Galveston. 2,000 people showed up at the funeral.
Mm.
I watched it online from Zurich. Remarkable man, and didn't change from age 13 till the end of life in his mid 70s. Never changed at all. And my other dear friend, who's better known as Kinky Friedman, the leader of Kinky Friedman and the Texas Jew Boys, which was a band, friend of everybody in the world, from President Bill Clinton and George W. Bush to, oh, you name it. He always called Willie Nelson his psychotherapist. Anytime he was depressed, he'd call Willie, and Willie would tell him to get off his ass and go write some more songs. And our friendship from age 13 on with those two guys, the three of us as we went through our lives. And up to now, and then everything. And included in that, there's a little writing about Traeger, about that part of my life. And I think my next book will probably be about Traeger and about Milton and my relationships along the way. My granddaughter Katie and I may do a book together. When she was 5 years old, I began to make up stories to tell her. And I've got about her and this enormous, monstrous, hairy creature who was terrified of everything she took care of all the time. And he made him ham sandwiches because that's what he loved to eat most of all. And they went on great lifetime adventures together. So I told those stories from the time she was 5 till she was about 10. And she remembers every single one of those stories. I remember the first one. So I think between us, we can write a book together about a children's book called, and the title will be Katie and Me. And
Oh,
of
that
course,
sounds
me was me,
wonderful.
Bill. So it's our little thing to do. So I think it's either that or the Traeger book will be next, but both of those are on tap. So I'm enjoying writing. I'm enjoying being the village elder. I'm enjoying my time with my wife Gabriella, which is fabulous. I mentioned early on that I've been diagnosed with cancer, and that's been a marvelous education. I mean, I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but if you're going to have it, there's so much about my life that I've learned that I can use to make this something that's not horrible. It's something that becomes really interesting. And I'm fascinated by the response of other people to that announcement. And then what do I do with that? Because people have very different senses of, their response is very different, ranging from I want to run out the door to, oh, I'm so sorry, to how are you doing, to what are you learning from all this? There's a whole range of things that come. And it's fascinating to me how people come to whatever feelings they have about things in their lives, and how we can all use that. We can kind of question our responses and determine if those responses are real or if it's just old habituated behavior. And of course, that all takes me back to the learning to do the somatic work, learning to do the work with Milton. You know, what do we do with life? How do we choose to be part of this whole experience? What do we do with it? And
That's a beautiful question.
I'm celebrating. None of us are going to get out of here alive. Doesn't happen, you know. Not yet. Nobody's figured that one out. And so what am I going to do with it? And my choice is to be in my creativity and to honor that part of myself. And so I'm really enjoying the whole process. I'm liking the writing. I'm liking the writing a lot. And I think I have a professional editor he's edited books that have won Pulitzers. He teaches at the big East Coast Ivy League schools. He's a pro. And he's been so kind to this beginner writer. He's so patient with me. And he asks me questions that really irritate me.
Of course. You asked to learn.
I'm learning a lot.
Did you sit on his lap? Have you got on his lap, Bill?
Have I gotten on his what?
Have you sat on his lap?
No, I haven't done that. We've never met physically. We have done a few calls over Zoom. We got one tomorrow, in fact. But I'm really I said, Stuart, I think I'm done with the book. He said, good, sit down now and write me without any filters at all, write down what the book's about.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, oh, damn. So now I'm doing that. And
it's a deeper level. It's a little bit deeper
it's
level.
a whole nother, it's not a little deeper, Anna Marie, it's a mother. It's a mother. So here's my first sentence of that new part. I don't know the story of Frida Roth's life. I do know she was born and lived in around Lublin, Poland in the last half of the 19th century. She had 3 sons, Harry, Israel, and Izzy. And Harry was my grandfather. And then I go on, this 12-year-old kid walked out of Poland and made his way eventually to Houston, Texas. And, I know a little bit about how that happened. But I don't know anything about Frida Roth and who she was. And I would never will, I don't think. There's no records to find. And curiosity is everything. Curiosity is everything. It's true in the somatic field. It's true in the trigger work I do. If I can be curious, I can be with somebody. If I can't be curious, what am I doing? Then I don't know what the opposite of curiosity is. Is it being egocentric? I don't know. I haven't thought about it. What's the opposite of curiosity? But I know that it's a good place to be. And for me, that's the heart of the work that we do. And I think it's the heart of being alive, which is not really any different from the work.
Right.
So some of the gift of this cancer is, oh, okay, this is it. It's time to pay attention at a whole new level. And so that's the gift that this particular terrible thing brings me. It's can I be present at a different level than I could before? What do I do with that?
Right. Well, Bill, if we can help you with that in any way, I know the foundation.
There's nothing to help.
Yeah.
Richard, it's not about that. It's really the quality of living it. If you want to dance, we can dance together on Zoom, or you can come to Switzerland.
There you go.
Come play. That's if we have some classes, we'll go mess around in the classes, but if not, we'll just go walk in the mountains.
Love to do that.
To me, that's the heart of the whole thing anyway. It's not, why do any of us enter the field of connection with other people through touch? Why do we do that?
Mm-hmm.
What pulls us to do that? We could all be CPAs and work in offices and add up numbers all day. And none of us chose to do that. My friends, I grew up in the 1950s, and the heart of the Jewish zeitgeist in that, is that the correct pronunciation?
Yes.
The heart of the Jewish mind at that time was, you're going to be a doctor, you should be a lawyer. Listen, you got a nice job, you're a CPA, you could be a podiatrist. Whatever you want, son, you go do that. One of us became a rabbi, one of us became a country and western musician. I became a farmer. Yeah, I knew nothing about farming. Then I converted, I became the largest supplier of houseplants. I grew houseplants to Target stores. I grew them to 3,400 stores. And somewhere along the way, I became a Traeger therapist. What the hell? Where did that come from? None of us followed the normal track, and you guys either. None of us did that. We
Correct.
all eventually wound our way into something else. What's that about? And each of us will have our own story. It'll be very different.
I hope you write that book. I hope you do write that book. That would
Yeah,
be,
it's there.
yeah,
It keeps wandering around in my head. It's there. And if I live long enough, this is what I want to do. I want to write.
yeah, this is awesome.
This is what I want to do. And I'm shocked and surprised. But I never did what I was what the culture thought I should do. And my parents were like that. My dad especially. I mean, at 60, he went to Ferrara in Italy, where Michelangelo got his stone for the David. And he stayed there 6 months and learned to sculpt. And he came home and sculpted the rest of his life. I have a piece in the living room of his. At 70, he got his private helicopter pilot's license. And, he never did what he was supposed to, what was expected of him. And it taught me a lot. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my story. I mean, I like people. If you're going to do touch, you have to like people. Otherwise, you're going to be awful at it.
True.
So you have to be curious about people. You have to be curious about everything to do this kind of thing. But I don't know if there are any other things you need. You have to be clear, I think, or you have to develop clarity about boundaries. When it's enough, when it's too much. I mean, the basic boundary we're taught early, no matter what the form of body work is sexual boundaries. So we have to, that's got to be clear. But that speaks to the bigger question of how do we support our client in feeling safe enough to be with us? What do we do to do that? And how do we do that? What are the questions around that for us? So learning that piece is important. We develop a skill set over time. It's sort of hard not to if you do enough body work, enough sessions. You're going to get better at it. So I don't think that's something to worry about. I don't want to put down people who want more information, because for some people that's really important. It's not for me. But I think it's great if that's what you want to do. If you want to understand better about how things work from the current level of understanding, which 50 years probably won't be correct anyway. But if that's important, I think that's a good thing to do. And for me, it's just this ongoing deepening of curiosity, getting better at being more curious is more important than anything else. And that's, if you have a question about any of it, I'm just kind of rambling, I think, at this point.
Thank you, Bill. If people were interested in getting in touch with you, is there a best way to get in touch with you?
Of course, Bill's Traeger, Bills, Traeger, Trager, email. at gmail.com. Bill's Trigger email at gmail.com.
I gotta say, I so appreciate your time today. I'm so grateful for all of the times that we've been able to share together in the
Yeah.
past. And it's been really nice to overlay those memories with the current one. That's really, really beautiful. And thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Rick, thank you.
Thank you, Bill. You've laid a serious imprint into my heart, and you have a major, major part of the work that I do. And I've been very, very grateful and blessed to touch a lot of people and have changed a lot of lives. And people like you that have come into my life that have shared with me the things that you've learned over all these years is wonderful. And obviously, what we're doing with this portrait is to let people know who Bill Scholl is. And I think you did a beautiful job doing that. So thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us. And we'd love to have you back again.
Well, when my book is published, I will come read a few lines to you.
We would love that. Thank you. That would be
I'll
awesome.
read some of the Betty Fuller material, the Milton material from it, and we can laugh about some of those tales.
That sounds great.
That's great.
All the best.
All right. Well, it's getting late there in Zurich. So good night, Bill. And big hug to Gabriella and to our audience. Thank you for joining us. And we'll be back again next week with another episode. So you all be well. Take care.